Bronny James and Emoni Bates have a problem no one is noticing. Now, as many of you know by now, Bronny James, of course, is playing for Sierra Canyon, and in his most recent game actually suffered somewhat of an injury. He had 10 points in the first half and was honestly looking like one of, if not the best player on the floor in that half, and then all of a sudden you saw LeBron looking at him and he actually went and walked off the court, and it looks like from what we've seen from reports, it was actually a hip injury. Now, many people were wondering how severe is this injury? Is it going to keep Bronny James out for a week, for 2 weeks? Is he going to be out for a number of games? Is he going to be out for the rest of the season? What is going on? Because you know, he's had injuries in the past, had surgery, and a lot of people want to see this dude finally play. He's been healthy for the majority of the season, so we want to see how he's going to do in the playoffs when his team has needed him. And thus far, I have to say he showed out and played exceptionally well, and I think he's been playing the best so far. But what not a lot of people are noticing is in Bronny James' most recent playoff game, something happened which was crazy. Now, if you look at the lineup, Bronny was actually not playing. He's actually sitting on the side and sat out this game, which clearly shows that it's probably a little bit more of an injury than we all expected. Now, what's interesting is that after that initial injury Bronny had, he actually played in the following game, but he did not play well at all. And it seems like this injury maybe is a little more severe than we thought. He's at least sitting out for one game, and I wonder how many more games he'll actually be sitting out, because you know, I think Sierra Canyon really needs him. They only won this most recent game by around 4 or 5 points, which is not a lot at all. And of course, Bronny can add to players scoring the basketball, helping people get buckets, getting rebounds, pushing the ball, and of course playing defense, which is invaluable to his team. They need him to be out there, so it definitely seems like he's adding a lot to the team, but I wonder how soon he will actually be back. From the initial injury, it doesn't seem like anyone actually hurt him, but more of a awkward movement that got him this initial injury, and more than likely I believe he will be back pretty soon, maybe miss a few games, but I don't think it's anything super dramatic at all. Now, on the other hand, Emoni Bates, of course, you guys know Emoni Bates has been out here, and honestly, in college, he has had a questionable season thus far. Coming from the #1 player in the country, Sports Illustrated Gatorade Player of the Year, really killing high school competition, to struggling in college, man. A lot of people don't believe in Emoni Bates, but man, something is going on with him. Now, if you guys have not noticed, the last time Emoni Bates did actually play was January 27th, and many fans are actually questioning, is this the last we will see of Emoni Bates with a Memphis jersey on? Now, reports are actually stating this is a lower back injury according to Penny Hardaway and Emoni Bates' father, and he's missed a number of games, and I really think that they need him to be on the floor. With the team overall being 17-9 and 11-5 in conference play, it's questionable as of right now if they'll even make the NCAA tournament. Now, of course, 6'9" Emoni Bates definitely could help this team get there, but of course, it has not been an easy road for him thus far in college basketball whatsoever. Now, Emoni has been seen warming up on the basketball court, but has actually not officially played any games yet, and he looks pretty healthy here. He looks like he's still getting shots up, but of course, if they need him to be playing in some games prior to going, or even seeing if they qualify for the March Madness tournament, I think Emoni definitely could help, but he has had a rough start to the season. Now, you guys remember, this dude was playing point guard position, and he was not a point guard at all. He definitely could dribble the ball, but that was not his strong suit whatsoever. Now, he was turning over the ball a ton, with 42 turnovers and 23 assists, and soon after, it made a huge change once this dude finally stopped playing point guard. Now, that was Penny's idea to put him there more than likely, but it just did not work out well with their offense, and really the entire momentum and how they played was just off when Emoni was playing that point guard position. Now, he's currently averaging 10.4 points per game, 3.6 rebounds in 16 games, which I have to say, those numbers are not bad at all, but coming from Emoni Bates, I think people expected a lot more from this dude because he was being compared to such great players, LeBron James, even some people would look at and compare him to KD, Jason Tatum, a lot of really good players, so the expectations for him were set super high. Now, Emoni, of course, skipping his senior year and being somewhat of a younger player coming to college, has not had the best adjustment, but I personally think that this dude can fit into the system that Memphis has and really adjust to the game. And I've seen time and time over and over again, people actually complain about Penny Hardaway himself and not Emoni Bates. A lot of people say Penny Hardaway is a terrible coach, and I'm not here to drag Penny Hardaway, but that's on Twitter, on Instagram, and you see the comments, a ton of people just talking bad about Penny Hardaway and specifically being able to develop players. Now, number one, of course, Emoni Bates actually decided not to go to Michigan State University where he was committed initially and decided to go to Memphis and attend there. And it seems like it's been a rough start, but I think, of course, him being that young and just having to make that transition, it could be a tough for a player his age, but it was his decision. At the end of the day, you have to hold him responsible because he was the one who wanted to jump the gun and play in college. And I personally think that it wasn't a bad move because, of course, you're going to be able to play against better competition and really see how good you are. But a lot of times, I don't think it's all a talent issue with Emoni Bates. Emoni Bates is definitely one of the most talented in the country. He is super talented, his height, his dribbling ability. But personally, I think sometimes it could have to do with confidence over his talent. This dude being 6'9" and can dribble the ball, man, there are definitely hoopers in college that can do that. But I don't think when Emoni Bates is playing at his best, there's not a lot of hoopers that really could match him like that. And that's why I think sometimes it could just be a confidence issue and him really having that self-belief that he can go out there and drop 20-30 points a night because he did it in high school so often. And once he played against better competition, it seemed like something was going on more with, maybe it could even be him playing that point guard position, being a little bit unsure of himself on the court. But I think that once he switched and if he can get back healthy, I think he could definitely help Memphis and make a huge improvement to their overall situation, or at least even come off the bench and add something to the team, because he was coming off the bench for a little bit before he did actually get injured. Now, will Emoni Bates actually leave Memphis? I wouldn't be surprised if he did, because number one, I think just the entire situation in Memphis, their entire team, they definitely have a lot of talent, but it's just putting the pieces together and team chemistry that a lot of times they just, for whatever reason, do not have. Now, him going to another school is definitely a toss-up in the air, because number one, you never know what could happen if you try to go to a different program. Now, I definitely think Emoni, with his popularity and really his overall potential to make it to the next level, is what separates him as well. That potential is super high, and I think if developed correctly, somebody could actually have a player who's a once-in-a-generation talent if he continues to grind. But man, the way he's playing at Memphis, it really doesn't seem like the pieces are getting put together. He's playing decent, but I think he can do a lot more on the basketball floor with what he was doing in high school and what we've seen of him prior to even going to college. Now, Emoni does have a couple of different options. I would say number one, he could go to a different school. Number two, maybe even sit out and go to some sort of training facility. Or number three, he probably could still even go to somewhere like the G League. And I think those could be solid options, but I wouldn't really prefer him to sit out because he's not going to be playing against super good competition. It's always better if you can train and play against people that you'll be hooping against in the future to really see how you match up, but also help you to have that continual work ethic and want to continue to grind to get better than your competitors. And going to the G League also could be a good place, but I really don't think Emoni's too worried about getting money at this point, because if he's really as good as he believes he is and as social media has hyped him in the magazines, I think he'll have no problem getting a bag in the NBA. But it's just really developing and working his way there, because the potential is super high, but what we see about him right now is just he needs to continue to work to try to get to that level. Now, clicking the video on the screen would help my channel a ton, and this is LNH bringing you the best basketball content on YouTube, and I'm out.